Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of SCUM. This right here is the podcast where we dive into the deepest, darkest, murkiest waters with a plethora of legendary guests, and I'm talking legends. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's Rex with 3 X's. Remember, triple X Rex. Call me that for a reason. You might also know me as a.k.a. the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. And I was just on the phone today. Quick update. Talking to my fleet of attorneys. DNA testing right where we want it, folks. We're at the finish line, and we will prove conclusively and once and for all. But we all know it already, that you're looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band, just smoked a few grams, got a million fans, I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Babaloo Bop Wop Bam Bam Shazam, hot damn, woo! And I'm feeling good today, and most importantly, I'm looking good. Confirmed. And how am I looking so good, you might ask? Rex, how do you get those lush, beautiful, just breathtaking locks? Here's how. And remember, folks, spray responsibly. We got an ozone out there to worry about. Coming to you, as always, of course, from the lush, lavish, lavender lounge of love, where it all goes down. And joined, as always, by my friend, my confidant, my consigliere, my doorman, my head of security, my bestie, as the kids say, Mr. Keith Hernandez Puppet. With not much to say, per his usual. But when he decides to add something, believe me, it'll be direct, it'll be to the point, and it will hit home. Just won't be right now. I am, of course, the hardest working man in show business, not only bringing you this podcast, but fronting numerous glam and sleaze metal bands up and down the eastern seaboard and around the tri-state New York area. But I digress. Well, no, actually, let me plug my passion project, the love of my life. Love Sword. That's right. The name of the band is Love Sword, and I'm looking for virtuoso players. So if that's you, I'm going to cut to the chase. Hit me up. Contact me. I'm looking to put together a timeless band to back me up. So if you want to work behind the second greatest front singer, cut from the same cloth, same smoldering look, same luscious chest hair, same animal magnetism, which is all the things that you need to personify a great frontman, then hit me up. You need to talk to me. This is, of course, the No Frills podcast. No frills. I'm almost 50 years old. You get what you get. You get a look behind the curtain. You see me as I invite my guests. What you see is what you get. I'm no technological whiz. I don't know how to put a little intro theme song in here. Probably could figure it out, but I like to cut to the chase and get down to the brass tacks of interviews. And we got a good one for you today on SCUM, and we're going to dive into it right now, as a matter of fact. So let's do it. Hey, there he is.
How you doing? You all right?
Check one, check one. There he is. Harvey Freeman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, man. Let me tell you, first of all, man, Graphic Nature. Can't stop listening, bro. I can't stop listening, and I'm loving what I'm hearing. And every time I put this music on, I want to go out and commit a violent crime. But I'm not going to.
I mean, that's good.
Not going to, man, because I've got my sanity and my wits about me.
Hell
and
yeah.
I don't want to be talking to you. Well, I probably wouldn't be able to talk to you, but from behind, a plate glass or behind bars, that would not be good. That's not what we're trying to elicit here, right?
Not at all.
But listen, man, Graphic Nature is the name of the band, man. And first of all, from what I'm hearing so far of this soon-to-be released full-length album, man, crushing stuff, man. Salute to you for
cheers.
that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let me start off first with the Graphic Nature name. I've read certainly a nod to the Deftones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
Big influence on you guys?
Not really.
No?
Like we love Deftones, but it's not something that we're influenced by as such. We love the name. Obviously, we got the name from the Deftones album, but
right.
yeah, other than that, it's not really a huge influence to us. We just enjoy their music.
Now,
But
I've talked about it on here a bunch of times with other artists. The need for the rock/metal community to have to put things in neat little boxes and label everything and put everybody into a genre or a category. But you guys seem to embrace the new metal. You don't run from it.
no,
No.
there's no point. I feel like a lot of bands are scared to admit that they're influenced by something, and they try to like jump out and be like, we're this really original band and we're no way influenced by Slipknot. Like,
right.
Yeah, we're influenced by Slipknot, we're influenced by Korn, Limp Bizkit. It's everything we grew up with. So why would we say that we're not influenced by something if we are, you know?
Yeah.
So,
What I love the most, though, man, and I want to get more into the creative process of like, how you write these songs. But right off the rip, dissecting the lyrical content and from stuff that I've read in interviews, a lot of emphasis put on not running from, but more tackling and dealing with mental illness.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, how come so much influence, and why does that speak to you so directly? Is it something that you've wrestled with yourself?
Oh yeah, this is something that I deal with every day.
Okay,
and
me too.
And having an outlet to write about my thing. I'm not very good at like talking about things.
Sure.
But if I can write it down and then put it into a song, it kind of feels a bit more cathartic to me, because then I can just shout it at people rather than keeping it in. And it does help. It's crazy. It helps a lot.
Well, and I'm so glad, because I had that written down here in my bullet points of stuff I wanted to touch on. And I like that you used the word cathartic, because I think, and I've talked about this also on here, that in my opinion, what the best music does is it does either allow you to release emotions or tap into stuff or be in touch with stuff. So I think that's really important. It can transport you to places, like I've said it before, I'll listen to a song and I'll be right back to 15 again, like somebody put me in a time machine. And that's the beauty of art, I think. So when you're tackling this kind of stuff, do you think it's tackled enough in music and successfully?
No. I think a lot of bands like to write cool songs, or they like to write about politics, and I don't know fuck all about politics.
Yeah.
And I write about what I know and what I experience and have experienced since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that seems to me like the most genuine way to perform as a musician, as an artist. And I think also, like, not enough people speak up about it actively. A lot of people will post the old, oh, here's the number to a charity, and then like that's it, they're done for the year. They've done their bit. Not enough people speak about it on stage, so I make sure that there's at least 3 minutes of me being able to explain what Graphic Nature is about, that you can speak to people if you want. Ideally, like, you can speak to me, but I'm not a what's the fucking word, not like a psychiatrist or a therapist,
Right.
So
Right. You're not a trained professional. It's going to say like, hey, lay down on the couch here and let me.
Don't take it like that. But if you need to like vent, absolutely do it at me. But yeah, there are therapists in that are paid and trained to do that for you. But I think just getting out the knowledge that there are places that you can go to speak to people while playing heavy as fuck metal music.
Sure. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I also think too, speaking to your point that you just made, I also think sometimes that people tend to, kind of shoehorn it into songs and almost wear it like a badge of honor. Like, oh, look at me, I'm cool, I deal with all this mental anguish and stuff. And, almost put too much of an artsy spin on it. And I think sometimes when you make it too much of the focus, it's all of a sudden becoming this thing like, oh, look at me, I'm mentally ill, or I've got issues.
It seems to me, obviously people deal with it in their own ways, but when I see bands that do kind of that kind of thing, it feels performative to me.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like glamorizing the fact that we're suffering in a way. And like, no, of course I'm not fucking sad every day, and I'm not sad like half the time, but I can get really fucking low, and that's when I write the best Graphic Nature lyrics, because at that point I'm like, this sucks, that sucks, I fucking suck.
Yeah.
So let's write it into a paragraph. And then when Pete, our guitarist, sends me over a riff, I'm like, this works. So now I'm going to make these into lyrics instead of a paragraph of me ranting about how I feel.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you're getting a platform and people are listening to you when you say this, because I think heavy music in general, carries with it this image that, you know, it's already going to be negative. It's already going to be a downer. It's for people that are unhappy or aggressive or violent by nature. And I don't think people look at heavy music enough as, you know, as being able to be therapeutic.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also don't like the way that us as like metal fans are kind of put into a box of like, oh, this guy's tattooed and tall and big. He must be really fucking violent and probably hits his wife and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like we're probably the most open and accepting bunch of people. So having the message that we're trying to put across, as well as having heavy music together, I'm hoping that at some point it can kind of like join the two, and people will be like, oh fuck, you know, I might not like the music, but the message is putting across is pretty fucking sick. So
yeah. And now when you sit down to create this stuff, are you able to tap into those times when you do feel low, or do you just write when you're feeling low?
No, I tap into it a lot. When we were recording the album, I think it was Into the Dark actually. I had written the whole song, and we'd gone into like record the whole vocal part, and I just kind of sat there and I was like, this sucks. Like this song sucks because there was nothing that I felt a connection to with the lyrics. They were kind of just thrown out there from bits that I'd written. So I asked my producer if I could have like half an hour just to like put myself in a place where I'd, you know, write a better song.
Right.
And I just thought about like, you know, growing up, like I grew up with just my mom. Like my dad's still around, but he wasn't so prominent in my life at that time.
Right.
So I just tapped into that side of things. One sentence turned into a paragraph, turned into a song in half an hour. And I couldn't imagine using those other lyrics now, because the lyrics that I wrote while we were in studio were 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Genuinely came from like in here. And yeah, it's one of my favorite songs to play now, because there's such a deep meaning to it.
And when you do sit down to create, are you mainly the guy tackling the lyrics?
Yeah.
And is the rest of the band, you know, pretty receptive to letting you know, as far as like not tweaking your lyrics? Like I mean, you know, all the other guys are kind of on board with saying like, hey, you know, I mean, we want to tackle this issue. We want to inject this into our music. Like the guys are never like, you know, Harvey, enough with the goddamn fucking sad shit.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely fine with it. Like, I think we all kind of respect each other's like zones in the band. Like, Pete will write riffs, and he'll come to me and be like, "What do you think of this?" And I can happily say, because we trust each other, oh, like maybe we can change that, or maybe we can do this. But I'll never tell him like that shit. Stop writing music like this or whatever. So I think he will see lyrics that I've written and he'll be like, holy shit, that's dark, but yeah, let's do it. It'll be sick. I think, yeah, there's a mutual respect between all band members, that we just kind of let each other do everything that you're good at.
Okay, and, fair enough. And so do you remember specifically, you know, going back to your younger years, you know, when you were acutely aware of these feelings of anxiety, depression, feeling down?
Yeah, I didn't realize it, but my mum did, because I was very introverted, and I still am. And I think I don't know what I was doing. I was probably like painting Warhammer at home and playing video games or something. And she just texted me and was like, "Oh, are you okay?" I say text. There wasn't fucking phones when I was young. She probably came into my room and said, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's cool." And then she kind of pulled me aside and was like, "I think you might be depressed." And I was like, "No, depressed, like that's not a thing that happens to like young kids. Like it's fine. Like don't worry about it." And now looking back on it, I'm like, fuck, like fair. Okay. So she picked up on it, but I didn't. But
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
And what was done at the time, you know, because obviously there's cultural differences. I'm here in the States, you're here in England. Not that people aren't still people, but, you know, certainly some cultures embrace, you know, certain things. Some people are more into Western medicine or going to get things checked out. And some people are more kind of just poo-poo things and push them to the side or whatever. Was this something that was of great concern to your mother, and was there anything that was done about it at the time?
Yeah, of course my mom was concerned, but I think she was only concerned because she goes through it as well, so she was just trying to like check up on me.
Right. Okay.
There was no like, "Oh, you're not depressed, are you?" Like nothing like I wasn't spoken down to at all, so that was really good. I had a really supportive mum. My sister's great. I don't know how she's like the most open-minded, like away with the fairies person in the world. She like never feels down, and I don't know how the fuck I got the whole gene.
That must be nice. I'd like to have her bottle some of that up and send it over
right.
here. Yeah. Well, no, because it's something that I certainly have struggled with in the past too, and you know, I think truth be told, it's one of those things that it's less taboo to talk about now, but it still feels like when somebody wants to, you know, be candid about it and speak about it, that there is still quite the stigma attached to it.
Yeah, I think it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, it certainly makes.
I like that.
Yeah,
If people are uncomfortable with you know, me talking about it on stage or me talking about it in graphic nature, I think that's cool. I want people to feel uncomfortable anyway.
And
so that's the only way people can grow. So
what was your first you know, what was your first foray into music, or realizing like I want to go this direction as far as a career path?
The first foray into music. So I started playing drums when I was 9.
Okay.
And just kind of thought, like, my dad was like, oh, you can either learn the recorder or you can learn how to play drums. And I was like, well, drums seem kind of cool. And I was like, I think I was just getting into Nickelback at the time. And I was like, this is cool. I'm going to be a drummer. And then
brave man admitting Nickelback. A lot of people wouldn't do that.
I like Nickelback, and I still like Nickelback. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, listen, man, we all have our dirty little secrets. I mean, you know,
exactly.
I'm always repping being a metalhead, but I've said it on countless episodes on here, and I will always say it, that my favorite artist of all time is Prince.
There you go.
And he always will be. Yeah, he always will be. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So go ahead. You were saying how you got into music.
Yeah, I think when I got into like metal music, I was in the first year. So this is year 7 of secondary school.
Okay.
I don't know what that is for you guys in the States, but I was like 11.
Okay. You're probably around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
6th, 7th grade. Yeah.
So one of my friends in school just gave me a stack of CDs. So it was like Slipknot's first 2 albums, I think. Linkin Park, Soulfly, System of a Down. It was just like, hey, listen to this because I want to start a band. And I was like, okay, never like heard of these bands before. So I put them on. Kind of didn't want to listen to Slipknot because I always thought they were the freak guys in masks, and I didn't really understand it.
Well, there's truth to that. They are freaky guys in masks, but kick ass though.
And then I think as soon as I started listening to all of those bands, I was like, holy fuck, like these guys are the coolest people in the world. Like, I'm a drummer, I can do this. Like, it's gonna be great. Yeah. So yeah, from then on, I think my first band I was about 14, and I've been playing in bands ever since.
So you took the heavy music right when you heard it. It was kind of like an instant love.
Yeah, because I feel like I didn't find I liked rock music when I was younger, and I wasn't really exposed to metal music. So as soon as metal music came on, I was like, I thought rock music was heavy, and this is proper.
Right.
So I kind of like shoved everything out of the way and was like, I'm a metalhead now.
And so when does the drums kind of get pushed to the side in favor of being a vocalist? Because obviously having that kind of anxiety and those, you know, awkward feelings or whatever, sometimes not easy to put yourself out there and be the front man.
Yeah. I stopped playing drums in, I want to say 2018.
Okay.
Purely because I was on tour at the time with my old band, and I just couldn't hold the sticks for the whole set.
Yeah.
Like my hands were just deteriorating. And I think that's down to my mom. She's got carpal tunnel, so I think I'm probably getting that.
By the way, I'd have to say that playing the drums would have to be one of those instruments, though. We're taking out a lot of aggression and angst. Would be fucking great, though. And I don't play anything myself, man, but the drums would seem to be therapeutic.
Yeah, there was a lot of broken sticks, a lot of broken cymbals. It's great, and I do miss it.
Yeah.
But after that, I was like, well, if I can't play drums for longer than, you know, half an hour, what do I do? And I'd always gone to shows, and I was always shouting the lyrics back at the vocalist in general. And I was like, fuck it, why don't I just try it? So I bought an SM58 microphone before I've even tried to scream.
Yeah.
And it just went from there.
And as far as like developing your own style, like did it come out exactly the way we hear it now, or did you have to tweak and make little adjustments you know, to your voice along the way?
Oh, I'm always learning.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've definitely tried to do vocals when I was in college, and I always wanted to do like deathcore vocals or like something cool and like that really sounded weird. I wanted to copy like bands like Architects and Bring the Horizon when I was younger, and it just you can't copy someone else's voice because you don't have the same voice as
Right.
them. So
Yeah.
there's no way you can replicate that exactly the same. So there's no point trying. That, in my eyes, anyway.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So it just come to me. I was really good at shouting, and I'm really good at, just being loud when I want to. So I was like, if I turn that and just make this shout into a slightly more distorted sound,
Yeah.
then it worked. And like, even from the first EP to the album now, I've learned so much about my voice that
Yeah.
it's just so fun to try new things, especially when I'm on stage. I'll do silly little low bits or high bits, and I'm like, fuck, I can do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You're finding you're finding your voice. I mean, literally, in a literal sense. And
exactly.
So are there front men who you touched on a great point, and I fully agree that you're not going to sound like anybody. But as far as front men go, from a voice standpoint or stylistically, or how they work a stage or whatever, who are some of the guys who you look up to or look at and say, wow, that's somebody that's really doing it, doing it right?
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I necessarily look up to anyone at the moment. I definitely did coming into it. Like, I really admired Corey Taylor from Self-Titled in Iowa.
Sure.
And then a bit more on Volume 3, because it was a bit of a transition between a lot more singing and talking bits and stuff.
Yeah.
Jonathan Davis.
Yeah.
Like, as a whole, like the first 4 albums or something, it's so, he can go from being so emotionally angry to so creepy, and the way he experiments with his voice, I was just like, this is wild. The fact that you can just go into that place and make it all sound creepy and dark.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's a big influence for me, I think.
Yeah. So when you sit down to write a song, you mentioned that you tap, that you're able to tap into those feelings. But do you have some kind of a process, like when you create? Like, are you somebody that has to go to a specific place to write, or do you have a room in the house, or are you somebody that's has a specific process to it all?
It chops and changes. So my usual go-to, especially if we're actively writing music, is I'll stay up to about 2 a.m. and I'll listen to really kind of eerie instrumental music from like horror films.
Okay.
And just anything that kind of sets the tone. I basically want to be in a point where if the room's completely dark and I've got this music going on, I feel really uncomfortable with what's behind me.
Right.
And that kind of puts me in an uncomfortable zone where I can really get into it. But then other times, lyrics come to me on the train when I'm coming home from work.
Yeah.
So I just write them down, and then I'm like, oh, cool, that's a really, dark-ish song. Let's see how it goes with the music. So it can vary.
Are you able to kind of decompartmentalize, or is your mind just always in creative mode? Like, are you somebody that just gets like, creative bursts like throughout the day, and you've got to jot something down or put something into your phone? Or are you kind of able to say, I'll turn this on when it's time to create, or do things just pop into your mind throughout the day?
Things pop into my head. I think if I try and sit down and I can get myself into a headspace to write music, but if I force the lyrics, it's throwaway. It doesn't mean anything. Right. If something comes to me during the day, I'm like, fuck, that's a really good line. Let's see what I can build from that line.
Sure.
Nothing can be forced.
And as far as technology and what it's done, it's obviously drastically changed the parameters, changed the whole landscape of the music business. You guys are about to release a full-length album. When a lot of people are going the EP route, or just hammering people with singles, and I've talked about this on here before as well. Obviously the average person's attention span has dwindled quite a bit. We're in a very fast-paced world. People don't necessarily sit down and enjoy the immersive experience of the entire album. But you guys are releasing an LP. Is that the way that you guys will still continue to go? I love that as an old school guy, almost 50 years old myself. I'm still seeing people. I hate seeing the death of the physical product. I hate not seeing being able to hold something physical in your hand. Do you guys anticipate going forward that's what you guys? I know you guys released the new Skin EP earlier early in the year, but going forward, will there be more EPs, or are you guys of the opinion that LPs are where it's at?
I think LPs, really, because funnily enough, New Skin was meant to be the taster for the album. So we were initially going to have New Skin come out at the start of the year, and then our album dropped this year.
Right.
But everything got pushed back because basically I want to make sure that we have vinyl ready to go on the release date. I don't want
Right.
people waiting, because as soon as you say vinyl are coming in 3 months, people are like, all right, cool, I'm on to the next band now.
Right.
Like
Right.
if you have something that drops straight away, I'm a sucker for it as well. Like
Yeah.
if a film that I like comes out on physical, I'll get it on the day of release.
Yeah.
But if I have to wait, if it comes out on digital first, there's no way I'm buying it on digital.
Right.
Because I like holding something.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm a huge fan
from
of
that old
physical
school
media.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I miss that too. And it's very sad because, we are slowly, especially if vinyl, does wind up being just a fad and it does die out again and stays died out, then we pretty much have seen like the death of the physical product. Everything's becoming completely digitalized. And, it's kind of twofold. I mean, and a lot of artists I've talked to on here, you see what technology has done for the music business, but then you also see how it's crippled it at the same time. It's made a lot of things, it's opened up a lot of doors, but unfortunately it hasn't been able to be properly monetized where the artists are getting to see a lot of reward, which is very sad. So
it's depressing.
It's depressing. It is. Yeah. I mean, it used to be one of those things where the dream was to be a rock star. And now I just talk to so many people where they're slogging through the business end of it. And, X amount of streams equals hardly any dollars to split among a bunch of guys. And it's very tough. Now, in your band, are you the guy who kind of spearheads all the business stuff? Usually there's one guy or two guys in the band who have a head for that kind of stuff. Are you that guy?
I'm definitely not that guy.
You're not the guy. Okay.
My brain doesn't work that well, and it's on to the next thing so quick.
Yeah.
Pete, our guitarist, is basically band dad. He sorts everything out. He does a lot of the graphics for us. He does all of the business side with our manager.
Yeah.
And they basically are like, here's this thing. Can you do a write up for this thing? Here's an interview. So they just give it all to me, and I'm like, cool, I'll do that. But I help out with as much as I can. Money wise, no. But like anything behind the scenes that's to do with the label or, getting shows booked for us with smaller booking agents and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when you're a young band, as you guys are, what is the route that you take nowadays? Is it just putting out albums and staying busy? Is it positioning yourself to get onto a big tour? Is it making it here in our country, in the States, all the above? Like, where do you go? Like, what's the direction?
We're just grateful for anything we get. So we know we're a small band. We know we're usually the bottom of the barrel choice for any tour, but we just make sure that we're always available. So any tour that we've had this year has been given to us with about a week or two's notice.
Yeah.
And they've been like 3-week tours, 2-week tours, whatever. We've done a festival in June or July or August, one of them. And we got told about it the day before. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not going into work tomorrow. I'm going to play a festival.
Yeah.
We just always have to be ready, because there are so many bands that say, oh no, I can't, I've got work. Yeah. And like, I've been doing that for so long. I've been that guy that said, sorry, I've got work. But I'm in my 30s now, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
Like, I have to take every chance I can get, whether that be, going into the studio for a month and taking a month unpaid. Cool, whatever, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tour, yeah, absolutely, we'll do it. If I had to go on tour tomorrow, I'll pack my bag tonight. We'll go tomorrow.
Yeah.
We just always have to be ready, because not a lot of bands get the opportunities that we've been given. Like, we toured with Cancer Bats a few months ago. They're like one of my childhood favorite bands.
Sure.
And then to tour with them for 3 weeks, and it just be the most amazing, fun tour that we've ever done.
Yeah.
Imagine if we just said, no, sorry, I've got work.
I know.
Like,
and that's really truly living in the moment too. I mean, and if you have the ability to do that, I mean, yeah, you're right. Because, as I said earlier, it's tough to make in the music business, but it isn't for a lack of there being a lot of bands. There's more music now more than ever. So there is a lot of competition. There is a lot of people essentially grabbing for the same nickel, so to speak. I mean, if you don't seize the opportunity, someone else is going to come along and snatch it up.
This is what I mean. There's so many bands at the moment that, it's great that we can now just, we can write a song, upload it onto the internet straight away. Everyone can hear it if they want it. But again, that's it takes away from the fact of like going into a record store or a CD shop or something and finding a band just because of the front cover.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I miss.
Yeah.
Just picking up a CD because it looks cool.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I do too. Well, unfortunately, what's happening here in the States, and I don't know if it's similar over in England where you guys are, but what's happening now is, we have these chain record stores over here, and unfortunately, what's happening to them is they're kind of turning more into like these novelty / toy stores, and the CD section is more kind of just shrinking right down, you know, like it used to be. You went to the metal section and you could find things, and even things, you know, even back in a band's catalog, which now, if you are able to find anything, it's usually the most recent thing, unless you're a legendary band. You know, you might be able to find all the Metallica albums, but you can't find like you know, you can only find like the last release of most bands, and that's it. They won't stock anything else.
Yeah, that's exactly the same here. I don't know if you guys have it over there, but we have a chain called HMV, and it's basically completely gone from anywhere in London.
Yeah.
There's one store called FOP, and again, it's the same thing. Every Metallica album's there.
Yeah.
The last 2 Slipknot records are there, but you can't find any new bands. There's nothing, and it's so small. The metal section is like 4 rows.
I know.
Electronic and pop is like, here's the whole fucking store.
I know. It is the same over here. So, first of all, how did you and your loved ones hold up throughout the pandemic? Did anybody get terribly sick, or?
We all got sick.
I
got sick, but I didn't die, so I'm all good.
Yeah, that's a good attitude there. But in terms of what you were able to accomplish when everything was in shutdown mode, were you creating, and was that like a good time for you to create? I mean, you know, because obviously you had a lot of time on your hands, and a lot of the world was shut down. Did you find that to be a fruitful experience as far as being able to create?
Yeah. At the start of it, I loved it. I was like, cool, I can play video games all day. This is going to be amazing. And then we already had the idea of like doing a full length, and we kind of chopped and changed between like, oh, let's just do another EP and we'll release a full length when lockdown's done. And then we decided on, no, fuck it, we're going to do an album. We don't care. And during this point, I got really fucking low because I don't know what it was. It was either the just confinement to one fucking bedroom for 2 years on end. Just really sent me into this weird like health anxiety mess. Yeah. And that was probably the worst point I've been, but the best point I've been for creativity. Yeah. And that's exactly how we wrote the album. We just sent it back and forth over Google Drive and Dropbox and wrote the album completely like that.
And you know, I talked to so many guys from bands on here that when you go to their Google page, or you try to get some you know, their Wikipedia page, or you try to get some bullet points or some questions or some stuff, you know, to talk to them about, you go to the, you know, the dreaded ex-members section, which is usually like a laundry list with some bands. Do you guys seem pretty stable in your lineup right now? Do you got a lot of guys, you know, because obviously it's tough being in a band right now, keeping up the morale. You know, I do talk to a lot of people whose bands break up, or members will say, oh, fuck it, you know, there's no sense in this, or I'm going back to just taking my day job. Or does it seem like everybody is rowing in the same direction, so to speak, and you've got a good, stable lineup where everybody's kind of on the same page and not going anywhere?
Yeah. The thing that I love about Graphic Nature is we're all members of like previous bands for years. Yeah. And we were always the last members to stop doing music. Yeah. So we're 5 people that didn't quit the band and start doing a day job. We're the people that still want to do it. So we're all in the same mindset of like, this is the band that we're doing. If this band doesn't work out in the future, cool, whatever, we tried. But there's no giving up in this fucking band. There's no members leaving. There's no nothing.
And the area that you're from, is it very rich as far as like a scene, even specifically to the type of music that you play, or are you guys kind of like kind of the only purveyors of that type of music?
Oh no, the scene in London is great. It's more of a the hardcore scene's coming back now, so we don't really fall. So like we can't really sit well on a metal lineup. Yeah, and then we don't really sit well on a hardcore lineup. But the hardcore kids tend to like our band more because we've got a bit of groove to us. Yes. So yeah, the scene's great. Like every London show we play is either sold out or rammed. So we're really grateful for that.
What I love is I've gone on YouTube and I've watched some of the videos, and they certainly go with the music and create a visual aesthetic that goes very good with it in terms of like, you know, very dark, very horror movie like I feel like maybe I'm running through a warehouse in a Saw movie, which is good. You know, I'm glad that response is being elicited out of me, because, you know, it, like I said, it does go hand in hand with the music. how important is it for a young band? Because obviously I'm dating myself here, but I remember a time when MTV actually played fucking music videos, and there was a reason to make music videos.
Yeah.
But are they still an important part of the music business?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Visuals and image, like it was something that I didn't really understand when I was in previous bands. I was like, I don't care about doing, you know, photos and music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's something about doing a music video that explains the song subtly.
Yeah.
And when you watch that music video, listening to the song, you're like, oh, okay, this is what it's about, or like, oh, this is what kind of image they want to go for. I think music videos are great. I hate doing them, but I like watching them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And seeing the, like, reaping the benefits from that afterwards and be like, this is a cool video.
Yeah. And when you guys get up on stage to play live, if someone hasn't seen you live, like me, for instance, I'm over here in the States. I haven't seen you live. Obviously, I'm in a whole different country. But if somebody hasn't seen you live, you know, what would you say they should expect if they come to a Graphic Nature show? Why should they come, and what are they gonna, what are they gonna get out of it as far as like what you guys are gonna deliver?
What I really love about people that haven't seen Graphic Nature before is the face when we're about to go on stage, because they're just waiting for the headliner, and that's cool. You've come to see the headliner band. And then the face after we've played, and they're like, fucking hell, what the fuck was that? I thought you were an opening band. You guys sound like you've been going for years. That's what I love. Like, if you come into a Graphic Nature show, it's chaotic, it's wet, it's sweaty. It's loud, it's rough around the edges.
You hear that, people? Don't fucking sleep on the fucking opening bands. I have been pleasantly surprised, not a lot of times, but the times that I have been pleasantly surprised, it's been more than that. I've gone for specific bands and literally been blown away by opening bands. And I always think, and I like when opening bands go out with this mentality. My son, he performs. He's in a different genre. He's into the hip hop stuff. But I told him, even if you're going on and you're not going on last, you always try to be the one who has the most memorable performance of the night. Upstage that fucking last fucking act, if it's at all possible. Make it so it's hard to fucking follow you. Yeah,
this is exactly what I say to all of my band members, and we believe the same thing. Our band motto is just tell them. Like, regardless of whether there's 10 people in the room or 1,000 people in the room, you just got to tell them who the fuck Graphic Nature are. And if people come out and they're like, holy shit, that was sick, like, we've done our job. And especially when I'm on stage and we're the opening band, I make sure to thank every single fucking person in that room for coming out so early to watch a band they've never even heard of before, because they are the reason why bands like us get anywhere in this fucking industry. It's hard enough as it is, but being a fan that just comes to a show to experience live music and to find new bands, they're the people that you want to focus all of your fucking time on. I don't give a fuck for the industry, anyone that's gonna, like, suck the band off to just fucking push them further off. I don't give a fuck. It's the people that come to the show that are the most important thing in the world of music to me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. And that's well said. And it's a shame. And I think people don't need to look any farther for their lack of success other than that attitude. Because when you have that sense of entitlement and you're so pretentious that you're looking past the fans or you're looking past the experience, because I think a lot of bands, and admittedly so, it probably has gotten tough, in the music business to come out and want to put on a kick-ass show, especially in the club setting, when you can come out there sometimes and see, 10 drunks in the fucking front row. How do you get yourself geared up for a show like that? It's happened to everybody. How do you approach it from a mental standpoint when you go out there and you got, a lot less than a fucking stellar crowd?
So I usually warm myself up for about 20 minutes prior to playing a show.
Yeah.
I usually listen to like something like Code Orange or Slipknot and just amp myself up. And because I'm on stage and my hair is all in front of my face, I can't see you anyway, so I don't give a fuck. I'm playing for me. And we've had a show like that. We played this really shitty fucking bar or pub in Bolton, which is somewhere up north. 2 people came, and they came for Graphic Nature. And I was like, cool, you guys are here, so I'm going to play as if I'm playing to 1,000 people. And
that's
then
the
went on
mindset
to,
you got to go on there with. It is.
They went on to a radio station like a month afterwards and was like, we just want to say there was this band Graphic Nature that we saw that played the best set we've ever seen. And there was only 2 of us there. And I'm like, if someone's come to see your band, you can't half-ass it just because there's not enough people in the crowd. They've
Yeah.
come to see you perform as a performer. We're entertainers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I've traveled all that way. Yeah, I only play for half an hour, but that half an hour is going to be the best damn half an hour you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
I have to
Agreed.
put everything into the performance.
I love that attitude, Harvey. I think that's extremely important, and you know, it really keeps that rock and roll spirit alive of what it really boils down to. That you know, that exchange between, you know, performer and fan.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so when you guys tour nowadays, what is the itinerary like? Are you able to get a fair amount of shows? Are they kind of just like, you know, isolated dates? Are you able to just pack up, as you said earlier, and go off for like weeks and months at a time? Or are you not quite at that point yet?
So any tour that we get is usually about 2 to 3 weeks at the moment.
Okay.
We're kind of lucky in the sense that we all have jobs. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
We all make, I mean, me personally, I make sure to put money aside, you know, like £100, £200 if I can,
Yeah.
just for band, just in case something comes up.
Yeah.
So if we do get a tour, you know, we can put some money into maybe getting a hotel or like paying for petrol.
Yeah.
But yeah, we make, I want to say, nothing from being in this band. We get £100 a show, yeah, but we don't see that. Like that goes straight back into the petrol. Everything's from merch and physical music sales. That's literally the only way that you can support bands these days. And it like, no matter how many bands say it, oh yeah, it really helps. It actually does fucking help. Like that money goes directly to us.
Sure.
Yeah, it might help us get a hotel room, and like you might think, oh, we've got a hotel room.
Right.
It's so much better than sleeping on the floor, and it's like a little, you know, gift to us for doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely. And now for my, you know, for my audience watching who don't understand, you know, that the struggle of being in a band is real. What would £100 a gig? What would that equate to, a ballpark in American currency?
Oh, I got a currency converter on here. Let's have a look.
It's not much to split among. How many guys in the band? 5?
Yeah, 5. Oh, so £100 basically pays our photographer, pays him his daily wage, and then it's like £10 each, and then that doesn't even go to us. So
that's not a lot of money then.
What is it? £100 to I just want to see now because it's going to be so depressing. All right, it's $120.
$120. Yeah. So to put that in perspective, between like 5 guys, that's I'd be $25 a piece. I mean, it's not a lot for like a day's work, you know.
And it is a whole day's work. Like we usually turn up to the venues at about 1 and then wait till 3 for load in. Sound checks about 5. You know, if we're lucky, we get rider. If not, we get, oh, sorry about that, we didn't have enough money because the headline band's taking it all.
Right.
Or you get, oh, here's £5, go and get yourself something nice from the supermarket. And I'm like,
right,
dude, I'm grateful for anything at that point. Like I just want to eat.
Right. And that's the way that I treat it over here. I've gone to like small club gigs and seen metal bands and hardcore bands. And I realized, man, you know, that when you fork over $20-30 for a t-shirt, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, you know, it's just like you said, it might get the whole band, a McDonald's fucking burger that night. You know what I mean? Or, you know, or like maybe, you know, they're a little more comfortable because they got a full stomach as they're driving in the van to the next town, or, you know, they're able to get a couple of beverages for the ride, or they're able to get this or that, you know what I mean? So it does add up. And everybody that I talked on here that's an artist echoes that same sentiment, that it really is from the live venues and the merch. The merch is critical.
Yes, the merch is the only thing that goes directly to us. It doesn't go to our booking agent. It doesn't go to, you know, management. I think it does go to management. I think 10% goes to our manager.
Well, that being said, where do the merch ideas come from? Where do the merch ideas come from? You know, like any artistic stuff in designs and stuff like that. Is that taken care of in-house, or one of you guys good with that stuff? Who comes up with an idea for like a shirt or an album cover or something like that?
So merch is usually between me and Pete, our guitarist. We'll like chuck some ideas around. Pete is the graphic design type guy, so he will like mock up the shirt.
Okay.
Or we'll go to friends. Like we have trust now for me to forget his name. So
he knows who he is.
The guy who's done all of the artwork for our first EP, and then all the artwork for New Skin,
right?
Some of the old t-shirts and stuff. So he's been a huge help up to now, but now we're just like, if there's any way that we can do it ourselves and save ourselves money from like spending our own money into it,
Yeah,
then let's just learn how to do it and figure it out ourselves.
Now, when you're growing up at a young age, and your mom keys in on the anxiety, as you get older and you progress into seemingly headed towards a career in the music industry, does it throw up any red flags with anybody in the family as far as like, geez, that might not be a path to take that might be conducive to having this kind of anxiety? Or did they see the catharticness and the aspect where it might be a great release?
The second one.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah, my family are very much like
supportive.
It does not matter what else you do as long as you stay doing music, because you are a different person when you come off that stage. Like, it's like, I guess what it's like if you're, if you exercise often. I exercise enough, but like, like people say like about getting like a runner's high, or like, you just come out from the gym, like you've got so much like good energy to you. That's exactly how I feel off stage. It's like I've spoken to someone about my mental health. That's how
I'm not so much of a guy who enjoys a runner's high or a lot of exercise, but I do like to do my marijuana curls, and I do them religiously.
I think they're actually pretty good for the mind.
They're very good for the mind, and they're very good for the biceps. It's not easy getting that joint from down here up to the lips, man. Not easy at all.
A lot of work.
Yeah, and speaking of that, though, like, what are the laws over there like? I'm curious. We've gotten a lot more lax, and I don't know if you're a smoker or not. But in Britain, or like, the part of the world where you're at, how embracing of the, because it's gotten a lot lighter over here in the States.
Oh, it's still illegal as fuck over here.
It's legal as fuck over there.
No, illegal.
Illegal as fuck over there. Okay. So, to the point of like what? Like, if you were caught walking on the street smoking a joint, like, what are we talking? Like, in jail?
No one really cares, but it's the police officers that, have either just started or, they're on a fucking rampage or whatever. They'll either take it off you, caution you, or take you in, take your name. But no one's getting put in jail for it. Like, our photographer and guitarist, I think Matt stopped smoking now, but they'd smoke all day. Our bassist smokes all the fucking time. To the point where like we'll be like, oh, it's loadout time, and he's like, oh, someone should have told me. I'm like, dude, your eyes are fucking closed, man.
Can't make him carry anything at that point, huh?
He's just a burden at that point. I'm just like, sit in the van, man. We'll do it.
So what is the plan going forward then? We dropped this album, and then what? Are you already in the process of any material for a follow-up album, or do you instantly try to get yourself on the tours? Like, where do you like, what's the game for? Because I want to see Harvey, I want to see Graphic Nature world fucking domination. How do we get there?
That'd be cool. I think the plan for after the album is, I know they want us to do a headline tour in the UK, so we'll do that. We got announced for Download Festival the other day, so that was fucking awesome.
That's awesome. That's big.
I guess it's purely down to our booking agent. If a tour comes up and they think we're good for it, sure, we'll do that. Like,
but I love the enthusiasm, and I believe it was your guitarist Pete, and it might have been you too, who put up the Download festival poster. And I love the fact that even though you guys' names are on there, but not as big a font as the Slipknots and the other bands on there, that you appreciate the fact that you're on a concert poster with these legendary bands. Yeah,
I mean, if I went back in time,
I love the fact that you guys get exuberant about that, though.
Yeah, dude, if I go back to my 15-year-old self and say, oh, hey, by the way, one day you're going to be on the same poster as Metallica and Slipknot.
Yeah.
I'd be like, nah, there's no fucking way. Yeah. I'm grateful for anything this band gets, whether it's a small show, whether it's a festival, whether it's a big support tour. Anything we do is progress for this band. So I'm very grateful to be in here.
Now, are there guys on that concert bill that you would, and I know you said earlier that there wasn't too many people that you emulate or look at as an influence, but is there anybody out there in the music circle who you'd be starstruck to get a chance to meet?
Oh, I mean, I'd be starstruck to meet Metallica and Slipknot. Like,
how the fuck would you not be? I know.
There's no one who can say that they wouldn't be. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Slipknot's newer stuff, but dude, if I met Corey Taylor, I'd be like, you are literally the reason why I'm here right now.
I know.
If Joey was still around, I'd just be like, you are the reason why I wanted to play metal drums.
Everything about the guy is legendary. The music, the band, the neck is legendary. The neck is legendary. And Metallica, you know, I mean, I sit around and I listen to Metallica sometimes, and what I hate the most, and I've spoken about this before, when people go on YouTube and they dump on stuff, you know, I think it takes a lot for someone to create something artistic and put it out for the world, you know, to enjoy. Yeah. And if it's not your thing, just keep it moving. These people that have to type like a 2-3 paragraph thing of why Metallica is crappy in 2022 as opposed to, you know, the Master of Puppets era. Well, first of all, I applaud a band that wants to grow some. I imagine after you make heavy album after heavy album, you know, you want a little change. You want to go do an album with a legend like Lou Reed, go do it. You've earned that freaking right. I mean, you know what I mean? You know, your hardcore fans who are true fans ought to understand that, hey, these guys want to spread their wings and grow a little bit. But let's also not forget that these are the guys that kick down the doors for the Graphic Natures of the world and the Slipknots of the world. You know, I mean, these guys are pioneers at the end of the day. And I hate when people don't put respect on these guys' names. It's just, it's an atrocity to me.
You wouldn't have half the bands we have today. I don't even think you'd have 3/4 of the bands we have today if there wasn't for Metallica.
No, you absolutely wouldn't. And you also, and you know, how can you point out like any missteps they've made in their career, you know, when they've accomplished what they've accomplished and influenced as many bands as they've influenced? I mean, you know, and I stop and think too, like, what do people want? They want them to make Master of Puppets over and over and over and over again. That wouldn't seem like it'd be very creatively stimulating for the artist. And eventually, I don't care what people say, they're going to get sick and tired of it. You know,
this is my thing. Like, people complain when bands change, but then also people complain when bands don't change. They're like, oh, this is the same thing we've heard for the past 20 years. Like, change it up. And then when you do change it up, oh, where's Master of Puppets? Bring back Battery.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I mean, you know, you're literally in a lose-lose situation sometimes when you put your art out there. You know, if people are gonna, you know, you're gonna have your fans, but then you're gonna have, you know, all those detractors come out of the woodwork and say, you don't sound like you did back in 1987.
Yeah.
You know, but who's still who they were, you know, 35, 40 years ago, you know?
I mean, none of us are the same person from 2 years ago.
Right. Exactly.
Everything changes.
And I stop and think about the gravity of Metallica's music. Like, sometimes when they come on, I just think, holy shit, they are the band that I've probably partied to, been around my friends, been in certain atmospheres, and they've been like, you know, like literally playing in the background of in more moments of my life than probably you know, any band that I can think of. You know, I would be absolutely starstruck. I'd be beside myself. I wish I knew how to get them onto a small little ramshackle podcast like this,
wouldn't it?
It would be
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how you go about doing that. I was talking to with my son about that today. I guess probably when you can't get a hold of somebody, you know, a la the way I got a hold of you through a Facebook Messenger, and you want to go for like, you want to angle for somebody really huge, you know, then you kind of got to play the, you know, go to the webpage, find out the publicist, the agent, all that kind of stuff. And it would be worth it if I knew that it would be possible, you know what I mean? But, you know, I mean, I suppose it's worth looking into and trying. I asked my son that last night. I'm like, you know, if I could just get a couple of really huge ones, but I'd have to think of who it would be that first of all would say, yeah, that's kind of cool. I'd like to help somebody out starting out with a podcast, especially like if you're a huge fan, you know?
Yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because
it is.
I don't know where this band's going to go, but I always want to leave myself open to speaking to anyone that wants to speak to us about Graphic Nature. I sure as hell hope it doesn't change, because I don't think that's in my nature to throw someone away just because I'm in a big band now. I'll always have time for people. Like yourself, you message me on Sunday and I'm like, cool, let's do it in the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All I do is stay at home. I've always got time.
Well, I look at it like this too. I look at it like, you know, if 50 people or 100, and I'm sure that you could appreciate this judging by all the things that we've talked about and the comments that you made. If 100 people watch this episode, man, and 50 of them go check out your music, and 25 of them fall in love with it, that's still, you know, more fans than what you had. It's always, you know, I think everything artistic starts out as kind of like a groundswell or like a grassroots type of thing. You know what I mean? It builds. You know what I mean? It's very rare that you catch lightning in a bottle and you're privy to that overnight success. It does happen, but you know, for a lot of people, they're not that fortunate.
Yeah, we're definitely not that band.
Yeah. But I think sometimes when you work hard for it, though, it's almost more rewarding though.
I definitely agree. Like, if there are a lot of bands that I know of that have got big essentially overnight, and they're complaining about dumb stuff that you shouldn't complain about for a band of your level now.
Yeah.
When you work hard at something like we have, especially me, like I've never been in like a big band, and Graphic Nature on a big band, but like when we do eventually get to that stage, I'll be like, fuck yeah, I've worked for this. No one can take this away from me because I have fucking worked for this.
Right.
And we all have, like Pete especially. I know I keep talking about Pete, but he does so fucking much for this band, and he doesn't realize that he needs to take a fucking break.
Yeah.
He just needs to chill and do something that isn't band related. Like, he's so head first into it, which is, it's a wonderful thing, because I don't know if I could even have the mental capacity to even think about band 24/7. But
well, I think that's a good thing about the dynamic in a band, where like you'll hear people who have been together for years and years talk about, oh, it's a brotherhood, or sometimes we fight, it's a dysfunctional family. But what's also nice though is that you know good band members will pick you up, or they'll like like they'll play to the to their strengths, and those might be the areas where those are your weaknesses. You know what I mean? So you kind of pick each other up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like you said, he's good at the business stuff of it. You're good at the writing the lyric stuff. Somebody else might be good at, like, hey, I can draw really good. I'll make up designs, for merch. It's nice when it's truly a team collaborative effort, because I think that's at the end of the day what kind of gets lost with a lot of bands, especially when they get too huge and they're traveling on separate tour buses, or all of a sudden, like, they're not friends anymore. I mean, that dynamic gets weird. It's like, how did you guys get so far from the essence of what you started with, to that,
money
does it. Yeah, that's certainly the root of a lot of evil. Yeah,
the thing is, dude, I do not give a fuck about earning money from this band.
Yeah,
everyone's entitled to their own share, cool, but if someone had more of an input, that's you. I'm absolutely content with how much money I make from my job now. It's not a lot, but I get by, and I can do the things that I like to do. I like to stay in, I like to watch films.
Yeah,
if I can still do that while being in a band, and someone else has to get some more money, cool.
And films of what nature? What kind of films are we talking about, Harvey?
I'm big into anything. What did I watch recently? I mean, one of my favorites is Donnie Brasco.
Oh yeah.
But then I'm a huge fan
those
of
gangster movies. Hey, you know what? That's a great Johnny Depp performance, though.
That is, yeah.
It's like when you see Al Pacino's name on a film poster, I mean, he's such an iconic guy. You know what I mean? That a lot of the focus goes to him. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, I think they both equally carried that movie. Yeah.
I'm hugely into my sci-fi and fantasy. So yeah, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, even the MCU. I'm a big fan of Marvel films. DC is cool in comic and animated films, but I love anything that can take me away from where I am for like 2 hours.
Sure.
Anything that can really like put me in this, completely fictional place. Sign me up. I love it.
So we got the new Skin EP in 2022. And the album A Mind Waiting to Die is going to drop when?
February 17th, 2023.
February 17, 2023. A Mind Waiting to Die. When you hear that title, first of all, who comes up with that? You?
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Lockdown.
Your interpretation of it.
That was lockdown for me. I was just waiting. Lockdown. I was waiting because I just had a feeling that either something's going to go wrong or I'm just going to die. So I'm just basically sat in this room with my own thoughts.
Yeah.
Waiting to die.
Which sometimes when you have anxiety, being alone with your own thoughts is not always the best place to be,
It is the worst.
I sometimes when I'm falling asleep at night, I just get these intrusive thoughts sometimes, and you can't get them out of your head, and it can be a lonely place a lot of times. I mean, your mind can really turn on you a lot.
Yeah, it's a fucking jerk.
Yeah, it is a fucking jerk. I know. A lot of times I'd like to just take my mind out and throw it a good fucking beat, and I think I'd feel a lot better. I mean, straighten them out.
Yeah, literally that.
So listen, man, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, man. I appreciate you being so generous with your time, man. I mean, this has been a blast. I would love to stay in touch, and hopefully we can do this again after the album drops.
Absolutely.
And,
we'll get back on here. Me, man.
Yeah, we'll get back on here and we'll chop it up again, man. The absolute best of luck. I want to ask you in closing. I've been asking a lot of my guests this, just because I'm trying to put together a little compilation of what my guests throw out for me. The best piece of advice that you could give, or that you've been given.
Best piece of advice that I could give to someone starting a band.
just in general, it could be about mental health. It could be just something poignant that spoke to you.
I'm not going to say live life at your fullest because that's fucking cliche as shit. Just do what you have to do and not what someone else expects you to do.
Okay.
If you want to play music, you play music. If your mom tells you to get a 9-to-5 job, you still play music. That's what you've got to do. Like,
yeah,
whatever makes you happy and whatever you can obsess over and just become so, enamored with, do that. After all, like, the only person that's going to make you happy is yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy, like, you're fucking good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to keep that mental health intact. It's so much more important. And I'm glad that you were willing to come on here and be candid and outspoken about it, because I think it's good for people who look up to people, regardless of whether it's an athlete, a musician, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's like some kid out there who's going to gravitate to a Corey Taylor or to a Harvey Freeman, and who's going to take it who's going to listen to you and think that what you said about mental illness is very poignant and is going to speak to them. And, maybe they're not going to have to feel like they have to suffer as much, So, and I think that's what it's really all about. I think you touched on it earlier. If it wasn't so taboo, or we didn't feel like it was so taboo to talk about, it's kind of like that elephant in the room. Like when you bring up, like, hey, do you believe in God? Whoa, all of a sudden it's crickets. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Well, hold on. We're not talking about religion here, are we? Whoa.
Yeah, starting a conversation.
Yeah, or hold on. We're going to talk about mental illness. Wait a minute. Yeah. I got to go running scared here for a minute. I don't want to talk about what my emotions make me feel. God forbid, I mean, that's a fucking scary thought, you know what I mean? But I appreciate you being willing to do it. And I appreciate you just coming on here and chopping it up with me, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, anytime.
Yeah, I will keep in touch, man. Best of luck with everything going forward. I can't wait for the fucking album, man. What I've heard on it is fucking crushing, man. It's going to be a fucking ripper, man. It's going to be a ripper.
Yeah, I hope people like it.
No, man. Hey, listen, fucking rest easy, man, because I can tell you, man, that sound, man, is the type of sound that appeals to the American metal fan. And I don't think you can take away from the fact that, that bands like Slipknot, bands like Korn, bands like Limp Bizkit, however polarizing, that they are, or however much, whatever the opinion of them from the general public is, those bands have done good. And the new metal genre, unfortunately, has been fucking shit on a lot, you know what I mean? But hey, it's also been very wildly successful, and it certainly has a huge audience. And plus, I'm not so sure that I'm just going to put you 110% into new metal, because I hear a lot of it there. There's the melody there, but I can hear the hardcore elements. I can hear the thrash. I can hear shades of death metal. You know what I mean? I've been a metalhead my whole life. I can hear all those parts in there. So I think it'll resonate with a lot of people who, and by the way, the genre thing I've talked about on here drives me fucking crazy. I hate how everything's got to be put into like a neat little box. Like, oh, you're not death metal, you're deathcore, or you're grindcore, or you're metal. I don't even know what some of these fucking terms even mean.
We're just a metal band.
You're just a metal band at the end of the day. Yeah, I like that. Put an exclamation point at the end of it. Harvey and the Boys in Graphic Nature are a fucking metal band, goddammit. it.
That's it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, man, for coming on here,
absolutely.
Man. All right, man. Talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Salute. You too, sir. Thank you.
See you in a bit. Bye.
All right. Later, Harvey.
Yeah.
Later. There you have it, folks. That is my main man, Harvey Freeman. Do go check out his band, Graphic Nature, and then hit me up in the comment section and say, Rex, I had no idea. Thank you so fucking much. You don't know what kind of door you opened for me. This band is fucking incredible. Graphic Nature. You can go check out the EP that they put out in the beginning of this year called New Skin. And you just heard the new album is going to drop February 17th. It is called A Mind Waiting to Die. You can find them on music platforms. You can find kick-ass, sinister, scary, creepy videos done very, very, very well, I might add, on YouTube. Go check out Harvey and the Boys, Graphic Nature. Kick-ass name for a band, too, by the way. You will not be disappointed, and guess what? You will be thanking me. So, hope you guys dug that episode. See you next time on Pod Scum, and remember to take it easy and keep it fucking sleazy.